The human colonies had flourished for over a century. Across the Milky Way, planets that once were barren now held thriving cities, green forests, and oceans alive with engineered life. Humans had spread carefully, building stations, research centers, and peaceful settlements. They had learned from their history. War was costly, and survival demanded unity. Yet despite their achievements, humans had grown confident, too confident. Perhaps. Commander Alara Voss stood on the bridge of the starship Resolute, staring at the holographic map of the outer colonies. Her fingers tapped nervously on the console. "Another colony report just came in," said Lieutenant Jaron, her communications officer. "Epsilon Prime. It's gone, all life. Wiped out. No survivors." Alara clenched her jaw. She had seen destruction before, but something about this was different. It was too precise, too fast. "Scan for survivors again," she said, her voice steady, though her stomach twisted. "Something about this doesn't feel like a random attack." Jaron shook his head. "Commander, we've already tried. Nothing. It's like the planet just disappeared." Alara's mind raced. Humanity had enemies, yes. Pirates, rival alien factions, but nothing this coordinated. Nothing this ruthless. Meanwhile, on the barren plains of Epsilon Prime, the Varkari fleet hovered silently above the surface. Their ships were sleek, dark, and alien. They moved like predators, calculated and cruel. From orbit, they launched beams of energy, disintegrating cities within seconds. Colonists had no time to react. The attacks were merciless, but in a strange way, almost clinical. Back on Earth, the High Council held emergency meetings. Dr. Cale Thorne, a young xenobiologist, entered the chamber with a tablet in his hand. His face was pale, his eyes wide. "Council members," he said, "I've been examining the ruins transmitted from the attacked colonies. There's something unusual here." "Unusual?" a council member asked, skeptical. "Everything is unusual. The colonies are being destroyed." "That's the problem." Dr. Thorne shook his head. "No, I mean the artifacts left behind. We found traces of a technology that predates all human expansion into space. It's old, ancient, but highly advanced. And it seems dormant." The room went quiet. Whispers began among the council members. Ancient technology was often dangerous. Most of it had been buried or locked away because humans could not understand it. And yet here it was, revealed by the destruction. Alara received a transmission from Dr. Thorne later that day. He sounded frantic. "Commander Voss," he said, his voice tight, "you need to see this for yourself. I found something beneath the colony ruins. Something called the Dragons." Alara raised an eyebrow. "Dragons? What are you talking about?" "There's a hidden defense network," Dr. Thorne explained. "Machines advanced beyond anything we have now. They've been waiting, sleeping, until now." Alara's heart raced. Could humans really have hidden such weapons? "I'll be there," she said. The next day, Alara and a small team landed on the remnants of the destroyed colony. Dust rose from crumbled buildings, and the air smelled of scorched metal. Survivors were non-existent. The silence was heavy. Dr. Thorne led them to a massive underground structure. Its entrance had been hidden beneath the colony's main city. Symbols old and unfamiliar lined the walls. The air inside hummed with energy, a low vibration that resonated in their chests. "This is incredible," Dr. Thorne whispered. "I've never seen technology like this. It's designed for defense. Or isn't it human? Somehow, humans built this long ago and hid it from the galaxy." Alara stepped closer to a large console. "Can it fight?" Dr. Thorne nodded slowly. "I believe so. But it's not just a machine. The Dragons, they are learning entities. They adapt. They evolve. If activated, they could defend colonies against entire fleets." Alara's mind ran wild. "If we activate them, can we control them?" "That's the risk," Dr. Thorne admitted. "They were designed to protect humanity, yes, but if misused, they could destroy everything." She took a deep breath. The Varkari would not stop until they eradicated human colonies. Alara made her decision. "Prepare the activation sequence," she ordered. "If humanity wants to survive, we wake the Dragons." Back in space, the Varkari continued their assault. Their fleets were vast and their weapons deadly. Yet for the first time, humans struck back. Deep beneath the ruins of Epsilon Prime, massive ships, shaped like dragons in silhouette, rose from underground hangars. Their scales shimmered with metal, and their engines roared like thunder. Ilara watched from the bridge of her command ship as the dragons moved in perfect formation. They were faster than any human ship, stronger than any shield, smarter than any tactical AI. For a moment, the Varkari had no idea what had happened. The first clash was brutal. Energy beams lit the sky, tearing through alien hulls. The dragons moved with precision, striking weak points, avoiding traps, and responding to every maneuver the Varkari attempted. Colonies that had moments ago been lost now had defenders unlike anything the galaxy had seen. Ilara felt a thrill she hadn't experienced in years. Humanity was no longer the victim. Humanity was the predator. As the battle ended, the Varkari retreated, their ships damaged and morale shaken. But they would return. They were relentless, and humans could not rely on luck alone. Dr. Thorne stood beside Ilara, examining the dragon's systems. "They are extraordinary," he said. "I've never seen anything like it. And I think they are learning. Faster than we can keep up," Ilara nodded. "Then we learn with them. We adapt, we survive. Humanity will not fall so easily." The stars above were quiet for now, but the war had only just begun. Somewhere in the galaxy, the Varkari were regrouping. And somewhere beneath human colonies, the dragons were waiting, awake, hungry, and ready to defend their creators. Ilara gazed into the night sky. She could feel it in her bones. Humanity had just crossed a line. They had awakened the dragons, and no one, not alien or human, would ever be the same again. The silence after the first clash was brief. Humans celebrated small victories in hidden command centers, but the galaxy did not rest. The Varkari, furious at the unexpected resistance, regrouped, repairing damaged ships and preparing for a larger, more ruthless strike. Every human colony remained on high alert, but hope had returned. And at the heart of that hope were the dragons. Deep underground on Epsilon Prime, Dr. Cale Thorne and Commander Ilara Voss studied the dragon systems. The massive war machines, resting in their hangars like sleeping giants, hummed with energy. Each one was taller than a human skyscraper, plated in armor that gleamed with an unnatural metal, and equipped with weapons that seemed beyond comprehension. "Dr. Thorne," Ilara said, her eyes scanning the controls, "what exactly are we dealing with here? Are these just machines or something more?" Dr. Thorne shook his head. "They're more than machines. I've been studying their AI patterns. It's adaptive, yes, but almost alive. They learn from their environment, from battles, and from humans. They respond to strategy, intuition, even emotion in a way." Ilara frowned. "Emotion? Machines don't feel." "They don't," he replied, "but they recognize patterns linked to human choices. They anticipate what humans want, then act in ways we might not even consider ourselves. Think of them as guardians, not just programmed soldiers." Ilara's jaw tightened. She had fought in wars where machines were tools, not partners. These dragons were different. Dangerous, yes, but potentially humanity's greatest allies. The first humans to interface directly with the dragons were elite pilots trained in both combat and tactical decision-making. They wore neural-linked suits connecting their minds to the dragons' control cores. This bond allowed the pilots to communicate with the dragons almost instinctively. A thought could command a strike. A glance could direct a formation. Lieutenant Mara Kane, one of the first pilots, tested the link for the first time. She felt the dragon beneath her stir like a massive beast awakening. The neural connection was overwhelming at first. The dragon's perception of space, speed, and time far exceeded human senses. But soon she found harmony. "I can feel it," Mara said, eyes wide, voice trembling with excitement. "It's like it knows me, and I know it. We can move as one," Dr. Thorne observed from the control room. "Good, that bond is exactly what we need." The dragons are designed to synchronize with human command. With enough pilots like Mara, we can create a tactical force that adapts faster than any alien fleet could anticipate. Ilara nodded, a spark of hope igniting in her chest. "Then we start training immediately. Humanity cannot wait for perfection. We fight now, or we risk losing everything." Meanwhile, in orbit above the colonies, Varkari reconnaissance ships moved cautiously. They had underestimated human capability once, and they would not make that mistake again. Sensors detected anomalies on Epsilon Prime, energy signatures that did not match any known human ships. "Commander," a Varkari officer said, his clawed hand hovering over a control panel, There is movement below the planet. Unknown entities, massive. They are armed. The Varkari commander's eyes narrowed. Investigate. Do not engage until we understand them. But prepare the fleet. Humanity is awakening something. Dangerous. Unknown to them, the something was already awake. On Epsilon Prime, the first joint exercises began. The Dragons, guided by human pilots, executed maneuvers that no conventional fleet could match. They moved with precision, weaving through obstacles, firing energy projectiles that obliterated targets, and responding to threats before they even became apparent. Ilara watched from the observation deck, tension and awe battling inside her. These machines, her people's machines, were unlike anything she had seen. The Varkari would not know what hit them. "Commander," Dr. Thorne said, "I've also discovered something more. The Dragons are not just defenders. They can repair themselves, adapt to enemy weapons, and even improve their strategies over time. They evolve." Ilara's eyes narrowed. Evolve, meaning? They can learn from mistakes. If the Varkari try a new attack, the Dragons will recognize it, counter it, and be better prepared next time. They don't just react, they anticipate. Ilara nodded slowly. This was more than a weapon. This was an awakening of human potential, combined with technology beyond imagination. The first real test came unexpectedly. A Varkari strike fleet, larger and more aggressive than the initial attacks, approached the human colonies. Reports came in. Towns burned, shields failed, panic spread. Humanity faced the choice between running or standing to fight. Ilara made the decision immediately. "Deploy the Dragons," she commanded. "All available units. We hold the colonies." The Dragons emerged from underground hangars like living nightmares of metal and fire. Their engines roared, creating shockwaves that rattled the planet's surface. Pilots synced with their neural links, and for a moment, the entire formation moved as one mind. The first clash was spectacular. Varkari ships fired beams of energy, expecting resistance from human ships. Instead, the Dragons moved faster than predicted, striking simultaneously at weak points. Explosions rippled through the Varkari fleet. Their lasers bounced harmlessly off dragon armor, while humans guided the machines into deadly formations. From the control room, Ilara could see the change in morale. Colonists watching from bunkers and safe zones gasped and cheered. Humanity, once cornered, now had a force that could fight back and win, yet victory came with cost. While the Dragons were nearly unstoppable, synchronization with human pilots was exhausting. Neural fatigue was a real danger. Lieutenant Mara Kane collapsed after hours in the control interface, her mind overwhelmed by the Dragon's sensory input. Dr. Thorne rushed to her side. "We need to regulate the link better. The Dragons can't survive without pilots, but humans can't survive prolonged connection without damage." Ilara paced. "Then we rotate pilots, train more, and adapt our strategies. We don't have the luxury of waiting for perfect conditions. Humanity can't run from this war. We have to fight. And we have to fight smart." As the Varkari retreated after suffering significant losses, their communications revealed a disturbing truth. "We underestimated them," a Varkari commander hissed. "These humans, they awaken something. The Dragons, they are beyond control. We must regroup. Prepare the armada. Humanity will pay for this insult." Ilara heard this through intercepted signals. She allowed herself a grim smile. The Varkari believed humanity was weak. They had no idea they had awakened a force that could match, perhaps surpass their own. But the war was far from over. The Dragons were powerful, yes, but they were also mysterious. Every victory raised new questions. How far could they evolve? Could humans control them completely? And if the Varkari came with their full strength, would it be enough? Dr. Thorne, observing the Dragons, whispered, "This is only the beginning. They are learning faster than we can imagine. Soon they might not just follow orders. They might decide the strategy themselves." Ilara's expression hardened. "Then we learn with them. Humanity and Dragons, together we fight. No alien will ever threaten our colonies again." The stars above Epsilon Prime were calm for the first time in weeks. Yet beneath the surface, in hidden hangars, the Dragons rested and learned. Each movement, each battle, each human thought fed their intelligence. Humanity had awoken a power older than any fleet, stronger than any weapon. And now the galaxy would have to reckon with it. Ilara gazed out into the void, her heart steady. Humanity was no longer prey. Humanity was a predator, and the dragons were their claws. The Varkari would return, yes, but when they did, they would find humans ready, united, and unstoppable. For the first time in centuries, humans felt something they had long forgotten: true strength. The battles on Epsilon Prime had changed everything. Humanity had survived the first wave of the Varkari attacks, and the dragons had proven themselves as more than machines. They were partners, guardians, and a symbol of human resilience. Yet the victories came at a cost. Pilots were exhausted, colonies were scarred, and the Varkari were regrouping. Commander Alara Voss stood on the bridge of the Resolute, watching the flickering stars on the holographic map. Each point of light represented a human colony, some damaged, some fully intact, but all now aware of the threat that loomed in the darkness. "Status report," she demanded. Lieutenant Jaron tapped a few controls. "Dragon units are operational. Neural-linked pilots are at maximum capacity for rotation, but fatigue is a problem. Varkari fleets have retreated, but intelligence suggests they are preparing a larger assault, likely with reinforcements." Ilara exhaled slowly. "Then we don't wait. We strike before they can organize. Humanity cannot remain on defense forever." Meanwhile, in one of the underground hangars on Epsilon Prime, Dr. Cale Thorne studied the Dragon's AI logs. The machines were learning at an astonishing rate. Every engagement with the Varkari fed them new strategies. They were no longer simply following human commands. They were predicting enemy tactics, suggesting maneuvers, and adapting in ways even Dr. Thorne struggled to understand. "They're evolving faster than expected," he muttered to himself. "If this continues, they could become independent strategists. Not threats, but assets beyond anything we imagined." Ilara joined him, her boots echoing in the cavernous hangar. "Cale, can we control them if they evolve too fast?" Dr. Thorne hesitated. "Yeah, for now." "But their intelligence is approaching something almost alive. They understand human emotion, intuition, and creativity. They are learning to think like us, but faster, sharper." Ilara's gaze hardened. "Then we have to stay ahead of them, or at least beside them. They fight for us, yes, but they also fight with us. That's the only way humanity survives." The first step was training. Elite human pilots were paired with dragons in intensive exercises designed to push both man and machine to their limits. Neural links allowed humans to experience battles as dragons saw them, feeling energy surges, sensing enemy movements, and predicting the flow of combat. Lieutenant Mara Kane, now rested and ready, led a team of new pilots. "Remember," she told them, "the dragons are not just weapons. They are partners. Trust them and they trust you. Move as one and we can outthink anyone." The simulation exercises were grueling. Many new pilots faltered, overwhelmed by the sensory input and the mental demands of controlling a being that could outthink any human adversary. Some screamed, others fainted, but slowly patterns emerged. Humans and dragons began to synchronize, moving as one mind across simulated battlefields. "Excellent," Dr. Thorne said during a session. "They're learning from you, just as you are learning from them. This synergy, this is our advantage. We must use it." It wasn't long before the Varkari struck again. This time they did not just attack colonies. They launched guerrilla raids across multiple systems. Energy beams tore through cities, colonies went dark, and panic spread. But humanity was ready. Ilara coordinated strikes from the Resolute. Dragon units paired with human pilots intercepted Varkari raiders mid-flight. Unlike the first battle, this time humans were proactive, predicting Varkari movements and using the dragon's adaptive abilities to outmaneuver them. The sight was awe-inspiring. Dragons moved like living shadows, weaving through space with precision and grace. Their weapons fired with deadly accuracy, and their shields absorbed attacks that would have obliterated human ships. Colonists watched from safe zones as massive explosions erupted in orbit, signaling humanity's strength. For every attack, the dragons evolved. Every strategy employed by the Varkari was countered within moments. They were learning, anticipating, and improving faster than any human could. In one decisive skirmish, a group of Varkari ships attempted to ambush a human colony on the planet Arcadia II. Dragons, guided by pilots who had mastered the neural link, moved in formation, striking the Varkari from multiple angles. Lieutenant Mara Kane, in sync with her dragon, executed a daring maneuver, She looped around the Varkari fleet, drawing fire away from the colony's shields. Her dragon's massive wings glowed with energy, reflecting beams and creating openings for allied units to strike. "Now," Mara shouted, even though her dragon already anticipated the command. Together, they unleashed a coordinated attack that tore through the Varkari formation. The remaining ships fled, leaving Arcadia II untouched. Ilara, monitoring from the bridge, allowed herself a rare smile. Humanity was no longer merely defending, it was winning, but victory was tempered with caution. The dragons, for all their power, were still learning. Neural links drained human pilots, and overconfidence could be fatal. Dr. Thorne observed this carefully, recording every interaction. "They are learning faster than anticipated," he told Ilara. "Soon they may not need constant human input. They may begin making independent strategic decisions during battles. That's incredible, but also unpredictable." Ilara's gaze hardened. "Then we prepare. Humans guide, dragons fight, and we adapt. If the Varkari escalate, we escalate faster. We fight smarter. We fight together." As the humans pushed back, Dr. Thorne made another discovery. Deep within the dragon's AI logs, he found a record of ancient conflicts, long before humans had left Earth. These logs described other alien invaders, threats that humanity had faced in pre-recorded history. The dragons had evolved from these records, designed to awaken only when humanity faced extinction. They were created as a failsafe, Dr. Thorne explained. Ancient humans knew that if the species faced annihilation, something extraordinary had to protect them. The dragons were that protection. They are the fire within humanity, the part of us that refuses to surrender. Ilara listened, awe filling her chest. "Then they are more than machines," she said. "They are a reflection of who we are. And if we fight as one, no enemy can stand against us." The war shifted. Humanity moved from defense to offense. They no longer waited for the Varkari to attack. They tracked enemy movements, cut supply lines, and executed precision strikes. Dragons became scouts, strike units, and tactical commanders in their own right. In one daring raid, a squadron of dragons intercepted a Varkari supply convoy near the Orion Belt. The convoy was heavily guarded, but the dragons adapted. They created illusions, deceived sensors, and struck at critical points with surgical precision. By the end of the engagement, the convoy was destroyed, and the Varkari forces were thrown into chaos. Ilara and Dr. Thorne watched from the command deck, realizing a truth that had been clear from the start. Humanity's strength was not just in its weapons, ships, or technology. It was in the human spirit. Creativity, intuition, and courage combined with the dragon's power created a force that was unstoppable. Yet even as humans celebrated, Ilara knew the greatest challenges were yet to come. Intercepted transmissions revealed that the Varkari were building a massive fleet, one designed to crush humanity once and for all. This armada would dwarf anything humans had faced. Dr. Thorne studied the data, concern etched on his face. If they launch this armada, even the dragons may not be enough. We need more, human strategy and ingenuity. We must adapt faster than the enemy ever could. Ilara nodded. Then we prepare. Every colony contributes, every pilot trains, every dragon evolves. The Varkari think they can overwhelm us with numbers. We will show them that humanity is more than numbers. Humanity is fire, and fire cannot be contained. The colonies buzzed with preparation. Shipyards worked day and night, producing new vessels inspired by the dragon's design. Pilots trained relentlessly, perfecting their bond with the machines. Humanity was readying itself for a war unlike any in history, and deep beneath the surface of Epsilon Prime, the dragons learned. Every battle, every decision, every human thought refined their intelligence. They were not just defending, they were becoming guardians, strategists, and symbols of human resilience. Ilara looked out into the stars, a fire burning in her chest. Humanity had awakened the dragons, yes, but the true awakening was within themselves. They had faced annihilation and refused to bow. They had found the courage, creativity, and unity to fight back. The Varkari would come. The armada would arrive. And when it did, humanity would be ready, not just with machines, not just with strategy, but with a spirit that no enemy, no matter how advanced, could ever break. Because humanity was not just fighting to survive. Humanity was fighting to dominate. Humanity was fighting to rise. Humanity had changed. After weeks of relentless training and skirmishes with the Varkari, The colonies were no longer merely survivors. They were a united force. The dragons had proven themselves not just as weapons but as partners. Now the humans would take the fight to the enemy. Commander Ilara Voss stood on the bridge of the flagship Resolute, watching a star map filled with blinking lights. Each light represented a Varkari fleet, scattered across multiple systems. Reports indicate they are regrouping near the Epsilon Rift, Lieutenant Jaren said, pointing to the map. They are consolidating their forces, preparing for a counterattack. Ilara's gaze was steady, her mind sharp. Then we strike first. We don't wait for them to attack our colonies again. Humanity doesn't hide. Humanity dominates. Dr. Cale Thorne entered the room holding a tablet filled with sensor data. Commander, the dragons are ready. We've optimized their systems based on the last engagements. They can now operate semi-autonomously, forming advanced formations and executing strategies without constant pilot input. Ilara raised an eyebrow. Semi-autonomously? Dr. Thorne nodded. Yes. They still synchronize with human pilots for critical decisions, but their tactical AI has evolved. They can now anticipate enemy movements, set traps, and coordinate attacks across multiple fleets. Ilara smiled faintly. Good. That's exactly what we need. Then we teach the Varkari what it means to underestimate humans. The plan was ambitious. Humanity would not just defend, they would hunt. Fleets of dragons and human ships would converge on Varkari supply lines, ambushing enemy convoys, and cutting reinforcements before the main fleet could assemble. Lieutenant Mara Kane led the first strike team. Her dragon Sablewing hovered beside her, engines humming with energy. Neural link sensors streamed data into Mara's mind, enemy positions, energy signatures, flight patterns, all at once. Ready, Sablewing? Mara whispered. The dragon's AI responded with a mental resonance that felt like a nod. Together, pilot and machine were one. The ambush was swift. Varkari ships, expecting nothing more than minor harassment, were met with coordinated attacks from all directions. Dragons flew in complex formations, striking weak points while human pilots managed precision strikes. Supply ships exploded, enemy defenses crumbled, and within hours the convoy was annihilated. Back on the Resolute, Ilara monitored the battle. Excellent. Humanity is not just surviving, we are teaching them to fear us. The Varkari responded, furious at the losses. They deployed their main fleet to intercept the humans, hoping to crush the attacking force. But Ilara had anticipated this. She split the fleet into 3 wings. The dragons took the lead, drawing enemy fire while human ships executed flanking maneuvers. Using intelligence gathered from previous encounters, Ilara directed the humans and dragons in a perfect dance of strategy. Every move was calculated, every counter anticipated. The battle raged across space. Energy beams streaked through the void. Explosions rocked distant planets and debris floated like stars in the darkness. Dragons moved like shadows of fire, dodging attacks, striking with precision and shielding human ships when necessary. Focus on their command ships, Ilara ordered. If we take out their leadership, the rest will scatter. Mara and her team executed the maneuver flawlessly. Their dragons flanked the Varkari command ships, concentrating firepower on critical systems. Explosions tore through alien hulls, creating chaos in the enemy ranks. Within hours, the Varkari fleet was broken. Remaining ships retreated, battered and disorganized. Humanity had not just defended, it had delivered a devastating blow. Ilara knew the victory was significant, but the war was far from over. Intercepted Varkari communications revealed they were constructing a massive battle station, one capable of destroying entire colonies in a single strike. The threat was unlike anything humans had faced. Dr. Thorne analyzed the data. It's a planet-sized station, he said, voice tight. Its weapon systems could wipe out multiple colonies simultaneously. If it's completed, humanity won't have a chance. Ilara's eyes narrowed. Then we don't wait for it to be completed. We destroy it before it's operational. The dragons will lead the strike. The plan required precision, strategy, and courage. Human fleets would distract the Varkari armada, while dragons penetrated the station's defenses. The neural-linked pilots would coordinate every movement, anticipating traps and counterattacks. Failure was not an option. On the day of the attack, the combined human fleet approached the station. From orbit, the battle station loomed like a dark moon, its massive weapons bristling with energy. Varkari ships swarmed around it, ready to defend their ultimate weapon. Remember, Ilara said, addressing the fleet via intercom, This is more than a battle. This is humanity's future. We fight with courage, intelligence, and unity. We will not fail. Mara, at the front with Sablewing, nodded. We are ready, Commander. The strike began. Dragons led the charge, moving faster than any human ship, weaving through energy beams and laser fire. They attacked weak points identified by Dr. Thorne, exploiting gaps in the station's defenses. Human ships followed, striking with coordinated precision. The battle was chaotic, beautiful, and terrifying. Explosions lit up the void, and the station's energy weapons fired in every direction. Dragons shielded human ships from destruction, their massive forms absorbing firepower that would have obliterated conventional vessels. Mara felt the neural link hum with intensity. Every thought of hers flowed into Sablewing, every movement executed instantly. The dragon's AI suggested maneuvers she could not have imagined on her own. Together they became unstoppable. Inside the station, human commandos infiltrated critical systems. Using intelligence gathered from previous battles, they planted charges to disable the station's energy cores. The dragons covered their approach, engaging enemy ships and automated defenses with unmatched precision. Elara, Dr. Thorne's voice crackled over the comms. The charges are set. We have a narrow window to escape before the core explodes. Then move fast, she replied. Dragons cover the retreat. Human ships follow in formation. We leave nothing behind. The dragons executed one final sweep, striking remaining enemy ships and neutralizing defenses. Mara's dragon leapt through the void, creating a shielded corridor for the retreating fleet. Explosions rocked the station as the charges detonated. The energy core erupted in a blinding light, tearing the station apart. Pieces of metal, fire, and energy debris scattered across space. Humanity had destroyed the Varkari's ultimate weapon before it could threaten any colony. In the aftermath, the human fleet regrouped. Damage was significant, but losses were minimal compared to the victory achieved. Colonies across the galaxy celebrated, watching transmissions of the battle with awe and pride. Humanity had not just survived, it had struck fear into the hearts of its enemies. Dr. Thorne observed the dragons now resting in their hangars. They've learned more than ever, he said. Every battle, every maneuver, every human decision, it's all part of their growth. Soon they may not need us at all, but we will always be their partners. Elara nodded, gazing at the stars. The Varkari will return, she said. They will not forget today. But neither will we. Humanity has risen. We fight with courage, with intelligence, and with unity. And the dragons, they are the fire that will carry us forward. That night, in the quiet of space, Mara sat atop Sablewing, looking out at the stars. She felt the hum of the dragon beneath her, a rhythm that matched her own heartbeat. They had fought together, learned together, and survived together. Humanity was no longer prey. Humanity was the predator. Elara, back on the Resolute, sent a message to all colonies. The dragons have shown us our strength. We will fight. We will survive. We will rise. Humanity is no longer afraid. Humanity is fire. And in the depths of space, somewhere beyond the stars, the Varkari regrouped, knowing they had awoken something far more dangerous than they had ever imagined. Humanity had not only defended its colonies, they had become a force to be reckoned with. And the war was only just beginning. The dragons rested, yes, but they were ready. And humanity, for the first time, had truly become the hunters in a galaxy that had once seen them only as prey. The galaxy held its breath. Humanity had survived attacks, awakened the dragons, and struck fear into the Varkari. But now the ultimate test had arrived. Intelligence reports confirmed it. The Varkari armada was approaching. A fleet unlike anything humans had ever seen. Thousands of ships bristling with weapons, moving with precision and deadly intent. Their mission was clear: destroy every human colony and end humanity forever. Commander Elara Voss stood on the bridge of the Resolute, staring at the incoming fleet on the holographic display. Her face was calm, but her mind raced. Every decision she made in the coming hours would determine the fate of her species. Status report, she demanded. Lieutenant Jaren, sweating under the pressure, replied, All Dragon units are ready, Commander. Pilots are rotating shifts to prevent fatigue. Human fleets are mobilized. Every colony capable of sending ships is contributing. We are prepared as possible. But this fleet, it's massive, Elara's jaw tightened. Then we don't survive by luck. We survive by strategy, courage, and unity. Humanity will not be crushed. Dr. Cale Thorne beside her studied the dragon's AI logs. They've evolved since the last engagement, he said. They anticipate Varkari attacks, predict maneuvers, and adapt faster than we can process. But even dragons have limits. We need human intuition to guide them through the final battle. Alara nodded. Then we fight together. Humans and dragons. Every mind, every strategy, every heartbeat counts. We do this now or humanity ends. The plan was ambitious. Humans would lure the Varkari armada into a narrow asteroid field near the colony of Nova Prime. The terrain would limit the armada's maneuverability, giving the dragons and human ships a tactical advantage. At the same time, squads of dragons would infiltrate the Varkari fleet, striking at command ships and crippling leadership. The day of battle arrived. Nova Prime's skies were filled with ships, both human and Varkari. Energy beams cut through the void as skirmishes erupted across multiple sectors. Explosions illuminated the darkness, and the hum of dragon engines reverberated like thunder. Mara Kane, leading the front line with Sablewing, felt the neural link resonate with intensity. Every thought, every maneuver, every calculation flowed into her dragon. They moved as one, striking with precision, dodging enemy fire and creating openings for allied ships. Focus on their command ship, Mara shouted through the neural link. The dragon responded instantly, weaving through energy blasts and tearing through the Varkari flagship's defenses. Elsewhere, Alara coordinated the main human fleet. Dragons led diversionary attacks, drawing enemy fire while human ships flanked and hit supply lines. The Varkari had expected predictable strategies, but humanity was anything but predictable. Dr. Thorne observed the patterns. They're learning faster than we anticipated, he said. Every time we strike, the dragons adapt, anticipate, and counter in ways we didn't program. They're becoming unstoppable, Alara smiled grimly. Good. Then we make them unstoppable against the Varkari. In the chaos of battle, Mara and her dragon squadron infiltrated the inner fleet. Varkari defenses were formidable, but the dragon's agility and firepower, combined with human intuition, allowed them to penetrate deep into enemy lines. Energy beams ricocheted off armor. Explosions shook the void and command ships were destroyed one by one. The Varkari struggled to respond. Their formations broke, their communication lines were disrupted, and panic spread across the armada. For the first time, the invaders realized that humanity was not merely defending, they were hunting. Back on the Resolute, Alara issued the final orders. All units converge on the flagship. Every dragon, every human ship. We end this today. Humanity fights as one! The fleet moved with synchronized precision. Dragons created shields for allied ships, dodging deadly fire, while human pilots executed maneuvers that would have been impossible without the dragon's adaptive intelligence. The neural link allowed instantaneous decisions, every pilot, every dragon, every commander acting in perfect harmony. Mara's squadron closed in on the final Varkari flagship. The dragon's engines roared, lights blazing as they struck at critical points. Explosions tore through the hull, sending shockwaves across space. The flagship faltered, systems failing one by one. Inside the Varkari command center, panic erupted. The humans, they're not just fighting, they're coordinating, predicting, destroying. A Varkari officer screamed. Our armada is collapsing. But Alara knew the danger was not over. Even one remaining Varkari ship could strike critical colonies. She made the final decision. Prepare the strike team, she said. We finish this now. No mercy, no hesitation. Humanity survives, or nothing does. The dragons and human pilots formed the final attack formation. Mara and Sablewing led the charge, weaving through enemy fire, striking the remaining ships with surgical precision. Energy beams flared, hulls exploded, and debris scattered across the void like deadly rain. Alara directed the main fleet, coordinating attacks, anticipating enemy maneuvers, and guiding dragons through their most complex operations yet. Every ship, every pilot, every dragon acted as part of a single unstoppable force. Finally, the last Varkari flagship was breached. Explosions erupted from within as the dragons unleashed their full power. Mara could feel the dragon beneath her resonate with triumph, energy surging through their link. We did it, she whispered. The dragon's response was a deep, vibrating acknowledgement. a sound that felt like the roar of the universe itself. The remaining Varkari ships, seeing their command destroyed and fleet in ruins, retreated into the darkness, leaving humanity victorious. The war at last was over. The aftermath was breathtaking. Humanity had lost ships, colonies were damaged, but the species had survived. The dragons, though weary, stood as guardians, their metal forms gleaming in the light of distant suns. Dr. Thorne observed them, awe in his eyes. "They've done more than fight," he said. "They've shown us what humanity truly is. Courage, intelligence, adaptability, fire." Ilara looked out into the galaxy, exhausted but triumphant. "We fought together," she said. "Humans and dragons. We were underestimated, but we rose. And now the galaxy knows humanity cannot be defeated." Colonies celebrated, ships returned to repair yards, and survivors looked up at the stars with newfound hope. Messages of unity and strength spread across systems. Humanity had awakened a force beyond imagination, and no enemy would ever strike without consequence. Mara sat atop Sablewing, looking at the stars. The dragon hummed beneath her, a steady rhythm that mirrored her own heartbeat. Together they had faced annihilation and survived. Humanity had not just defended itself, it had shown the galaxy the strength of its spirit. Ilara sent a final message to all colonies. "Today, we have not only survived, we have risen. Humanity fights with courage, intelligence, and unity. We awaken the fire within ourselves, and the galaxy will remember it. The dragons are our guardians, and we are their creators. Together we are unstoppable." In the quiet of space, the Varkari regrouped on distant worlds, shaken, humiliated, and wary. They had underestimated humans, and they would never make that mistake again. But humanity was ready. Every colony, every fleet, every dragon, and every human was prepared for whatever came next. The dragons rested for now, but they were alert, learning, and ready to defend. Humanity had awakened a power older than any fleet, sharper than any weapon, and fiercer than any predator. They were no longer prey, they were hunters. Ilara stood on the bridge of the Resolute, gazing at the stars. Her chest swelled with pride. Humanity had fought, survived, and triumphed. The galaxy would never forget the day humans and dragons roared together.